beautiful night for the beautiful game. We welcome you to St. Louis for this USL matchup tonight, with St. Louis FC looking for their 10th win, hosting the Richmond Kickers, who finished off their home season last weekend, finished their last two of this non-playoff year on the road. Hello again, everybody. Along with Gary O'Reilly, I'm Dave Lamont, and we thank you very much for joining us. It's very unusual to talk about Richmond not being in the playoffs. Their string of 13 straight coming to an end, and St. Louis just outside the playoff picture.
Yeah, it's the way it is, and the coaches may want to look at players and see them in different positions, or they might just get them focused and say, hey, you want a contract next year? Show me what you got.
Well, let's show you what Mickey Minotillo has got, and lately the back of the net, and he have become pretty close.
Yeah, but they need that, because that's the one thing they've failed to deliver on, is goals this season. Nowhere near enough, hence the fact they're not having a say in the latter end of the season.
For St. Louis, our Toyota player to watch has to be Christian Boleski, with 8 goals and 2 assists this season.
Oh, yeah, look at this. Quick, bright mind in the place you need it the most, in and around the 18-yard area. He really has been the cutting edge of this team, and along with Seth Rudolph, between them, they've got 44% of this team's goals. That's an awful lot. So when you've got just 2 players delivering that much, it's going to be a big responsibility. And tonight, they're going to be him and Milanito that got to bring the goals to the game.
Well, let's take a look at our 11s, brought to us by Cyberg Family of Restaurants. There's Minotillo up there up top, along with Fernando and SK.
Yeah, I can imagine this not being fixed in one particular formation. I think it'll be very fluid, and you'll see Minotillo being more central, Fernando being left. There'll be a lot of work holding in midfield. I expect Lamura to do a lot of that heavy lifting in the center of midfield.
And for St. Louis FC, you take a look at their 11. Voleski working with Apia up front, Goric in between the pipes.
And just number 2, Rudolph there, and Voleski, number 9, is where I've said the goals are coming for. Apia really got to work a lot harder around Voleski, but we'll see, because Mirkovic is the guy who does normally provide all of the good passing that sets up the goals.
Those are our 11s. It is an absolutely perfect night for this matchup, as both these teams try to wrap up their year, and perhaps with an eye toward the future. Richmond and St. Louis coming up in a moment. So special pink uniforms tonight for St. Louis FC. Of course, October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so the St. Louis side showing their support in the fight against this awful disease. The referee tonight is Eric Tattersall, and his assistants are Kyle Armstrong and Tom Kuzuwara. And Jervis Atagana is the man who stands in the middle and gets yelled at by both coaches. He is the 4th official. but he gets the cool job. He holds up the board. I've always wanted to do that. It's on my list of things to get to do once in my life before, before things get out of hand. So St. Louis will start. And on this artificial surface, you can see that ball will skip a little bit. Fortunately, it's dry. And we take a look at the Richmond
I
goalkeeper.
would call that kickoff ambitious.
Well, it was aggressive. How about that? Travis Wara we take a look at here, who's got 3 clean sheets on the year for Richmond. We mentioned at the top of the show, it is odd to see the Kickers out of the playoffs under Lee Cowlishaw. 13 consecutive playoff seasons for Richmond. This year, not going to happen. Not going to happen for St. Louis. We have a moment here to give you the Mercy Sports Medicine injury report. And for St. Louis, Matt Sheldon and Ryan Howe unavailable tonight. And just 1 game left in the season once this one is over for these sides. We take a look at Octavio Guzman, who had been on that injury list. Is off of it for tonight's match.
Miracle cure. Magic sponge, call it whatever you like.
Or the coach just writing your name down. It might be all there is to it. Now St. Louis with an opportunity here. Well, the Richmond defense slams it shut, and they have to be careful not to be going too far backwards. Could not clear it out.
Alex Lee did not want that pass in that position, not at all. A hot potato he couldn't handle.
And Mirkovic intercepted it, but could not do much else with it, so St. Louis will reset. And tried to work it over to Apia, but too far for him. Good crowd on hand tonight for St. Louis. Helped a little bit by a quiet year in baseball. So St. Louis sports fans in the fall sometimes pretty occupied in baseball, and there's no NFL team around. Why not come out and
the Luligans always follow their team.
Well, the Luligans, yes.
They are there for them.
Trying to get to Valesky, ball through, and that's another ambitious play, as you would say, and it's going to result in a throw in here for St. Louis. Guzman will handle that.
But you can do that with Seth Rudolph because he is such a willing runner into those channels, into that space in behind.
Yeah, the light levels are all over the floor here.
And they'll go ahead and they'll reset one more time, going through Calabasetta, number 30, all the way back to A.J. Cochran. And Mirkovic again. Fernandez making it difficult, and it's going to get the goaltender involved. That'll be Davala Goric, our first mention of him tonight. Be interesting to see the mentalities of these teams with this match. Richmond only bringing 3 substitutes today, plus the goalkeeper. All defensive substitutes, by the way. How do you handle when you know that this match has no effect on the playoff race? It is across here and headed out of, and it will be a corner kick coming up for St. Louis.
Yeah, good turnout from the traveling fans. Got their drums up for a good time.
Love the fact they light up.
You're going to get one of those as well, aren't you?
I don't know.
You're going to get the 4th official's board, and you're going back with one of those drums. I can see it. I can see it.
I would like just to hold the board. I think maybe do a 1 substitution would be awesome. Time for our Electro Savings corner kick. Manuel Apia has got a goal and assist this year, so this appears to be a right-footed outswinger. Goes low. A little bit of a volley, but not nearly enough, and that would have been almost impossible to get on goal, and so it'll be a goal kick coming up here for the Kickers, and they'll move it along quickly. Trying to attack on the far side. We haven't seen much aggression at all yet from Richmond, but as soon as we say that, they play through. Shot high.
Oh, Mikey. That was your golden ticket, sir. Whether he's been pulled back for offside, I'm not sure. If it was a late call, but hey, just put it in the back of the net and argue afterwards.
Yeah, Minitillo breaking through. He mentioned he's had a good stretch the last couple of games. Both his goals of the season coming in back-to-back games.
That's a let-off for St. Louis. That one pass breaks down your whole back unit. That's a problem.
Now, their first thrust was nearly highly successful. St. Louis has had the early run of possession over 5 minutes into this match. But what I was going to say before the crosses, you wonder about the mentalities. How focused will these guys be? You mentioned contracts are an issue, and the futures are an issue.
I think you, as your coach, you've got to get your players' minds into the right set. And you do that throughout the week. You set the right standards. You know you're not in the shake up for the playoffs, and so you've got to keep your players focused. So that's important from the players themselves and from the coaches and the people around them.
So Roberts and Yumby from Cameroon, his partner in the back, trying to work down the attack right side, and rejected there by St. Louis calmly. And Guzman was a little bit slow reacting to that. It's going to cost him possession. Alex Lee leaving it now for Imora. Excuse me, that is 71 Fernanda. Header. And there's a clean look here inside lefty, and he waited too long. Great tackle, but perhaps Bolduc waited just a little bit too long on an opportunity from in close.
You've got to credit Wes Sharpie there, because he just throws his body across the line of the shot. And it's that kind of defending. You can call it desperate, or you can look at it and go, that's what was necessary.
Well, I think desperate was necessary. I agree. Yeah, he had, otherwise you're talking about an open look from in close. So Richmond has threatened a couple of times now.
At the moment, it's Richmond who've had the better chances to score.
We did have one corner kick for St. Louis that was uneventful. St. Louis won the only other match between these sides this year. And St. Louis controlling 50-50 balls in the air, but now Yomura with a little steal. Bolduc, he'll drop it off. And Guzman cleared that rather forcefully, and we finally hear a whistle, which is good. We don't like too many fouls.
No, but you're going to find that in the central midfield areas. It's always the most physical contact. And Paddy McCann there, just having a tug on the St. Louis player. The referee saying that's not going to be allowed.
Of course, Richmond playing without Oscar Umar, who in the 90th minute last week picked up a red card for a studs-up tackle. So he was suspended for this game. There was some speculation the league might actually add one more and finish his season, but they did not. So Umar will be available to play in Richmond's final game of the season. Guzman's been very active for St. Louis as they work it around all over the pitch.
Could have his hands full tonight against Luis Fernando. Looks like a player that wants to progress, get into attacking areas.
Not squarely struck, and it's going to stay in. St. Louis now putting a little pressure on themselves. Dahlgaard number 7. And they'll work it around to Mirkovic. Now Guzman again. And that's just too far. Miscommunication, perhaps?
No, but he's seen the pass. He's seen the pass he wants to execute, but he's not able to technically get to grips with it. He's seen the runner on the far side. He knows that space is in there, but what he does is just opens his boot out a little bit too much, just like a golf shot. Off it goes in the rough, if you want to continue that analogy.
All too well, I know that feeling. And now he'll strike here from distance and just wide. Don't think Wara touched that, and he comes up hot.
You could see what Rudolph was doing. He's looking for Guzman on the outside to run, and he was hoping he'd get there a bit sooner, because if he gets there a bit sooner, he drags that defender towards the player who's running, therefore opens up the space. But he doesn't. Look, just doesn't get enough of a lane to see down to get the strike, and he just pulls it across.
So they didn't rule that Wara did not touch that, so he'll have another goal kick there. But a good strike from Rudolph from distance. He has 8 goals on the year, as you mentioned, Gary. It is Bolesky and Rudolph who have dominated the scoring column for St. Louis so far this season. Now, Minitillo.
I think if you're St. Louis, you're quite happy to see him in the TO there. You know, with a lot of pink shirts on top of him, he's unlikely to get out and score from that position.
Well, he's back there again, posting up as they go inside again. Into the box, but Guzman is there, clears but not out. Lee moves up. You can see this developing, and so did the goalkeeper, so an easy play there for Gorick.
Just concerned there that St. Louis defense was sitting too deep on top of their keeper.
This is Valesky breaking free into the box, 1v1, drops it off. This is Rudolph again. Valesky, wide. Oh, big opportunity. The goal is left open, and it's just chipped wide. And a goal kick coming up for the Kickers.
Valesky's cross there was just so delightful. He's got to make it so as it gets around players, and you can see him looking, and he just curls it in there. The goalkeeper does ever so well, Wara. But, yeah, they're getting a little bit more of an advantage now, St. Louis, and they're starting to work. Travis Wara.
Well, he saw what was happening. He was able to at least get a glove on that and keep that from being a goal, and then he was able to scramble back, and the little chip just slightly wide to his left. Rudolph, who's been on a run the last couple of minutes, is interrupted. Does it seem to you, Gary, that Richmond is more right now on the counterattack?
Well, at the moment, yes, because that ball's going forward rather rapidly, and that's generally, you know, they know St. Louis will commit numbers forward, therefore they're going to be weaker if we hit them on a counter-attack, so that's for sure. But that would be the same of any team.
Yeah.
Guzman read that. He read that little trick from Fernandez, or Fernando rather.
He tried to be a little clever with a touch, but it did not happen. Now St. Louis will try to come in from their left side. Have not seen that approach yet. Apia.
Good play from Roberts, strong physically with Valesky.
And this throw-in will belong to St. Louis. Possession in the early going favoring St. Louis, 65 to 35%. That tends to even out as matches go on.
It's always what you do with it.
Yeah, Guzman here. Yeah, it's definitely quality over quantity.
Oh, took his eye off the ball just momentarily, but that's all it takes sometimes. Can St. Louis box them in? Can they contain them in that area? At the moment, it looks very much as if Richmond are going to get themselves out of there.
Slowly but surely, they do indeed do that. Now they'll cross into St. Louis territory and get a little room to work here. Minatia, it's just too far for him.
He's got no chance whatsoever of making that pass.
Now that was actually 27, Gonzalez, who had that pass go too far for him. So all that intricate, close passing for Richmond to get out of that box that you mentioned ends up not working.
All it would say for St. Louis is you can't afford to let them out. So you're going to have to work harder at source in your attacking third if Richmond get the ball to contain them and keep them pinned into that area. Test their technique, test their ability to play between themselves to get themselves out of a tight spot.
And all that build-up just because one player briefly lost its concentration and lost the ball out of bounds.
Yep. It's as simple as that sometimes.
Now trying the attack from the middle, and that's stopped. Stern defense that time by Calvacetta.
Just a bit of a worry there, number 24, S.K. Jackson. He's going to sit between the defensive line and the midfield line, between the lines. And if he does and he gets possession, he's going to turn, face up, start moving in passes, starting to cut to pieces that St. Louis defense. Here we go. Now they've opened up.
Yeah, Charpy.
Offside.
And there's the flag.
I think Valesky wants that quicker because he's made his run and he's saying, like, you got to feed me soon. As soon as I go, that ball's got to be with me.
And work it all the way back to Wara. He'll get it over there to Yambi, Cameroonian. Who's been with this Richmond team since 2009. And was actually the league's defensive player of the year in 2009.
So he'll have seen a few playoffs then.
This year he won't, which is definitely different.
You can see the space between the midfield and defense for St. Louis. That's got to be more compact, because then it's going to be harder for Richmond to break them down. He's off.
Spirited run here from Rudolph. Looking probably for Valesky. He undercooked it, and he'll get it all the way back to the goalie for safety. St. Louis keeping the pressure on. Go back to Guzman. th minute. Neither side has scored. Richmond's had a couple of dangerous possessions and had one shot that really could have been scored. It was a great look for Minatillo, but he cranked it high.
Just at the moment, St. Louis are able to keep Richmond's wide players in their own half, forcing them back, and that sort of negates obviously their attacking prowess.
Nice, beautiful footwork there from Apia. Now again, coming down that left side. Always looking forward, always looking for Valesky, and he is very well covered, and they take a tumble into the ad signs. But it looks like Roberts may be his buddy tonight.
Well, I don't think, unless you've been designated a player to mark, if someone comes into your area, you will track them. You will track them through. You will make sure that you mark and contain them on the right side. So you can see here, Roberts there just make sure, keeps him on the outside, Dalgar and him, and little takedown at the end.
Nothing to it.
Yeah, but that might happen again.
I'm sure it's going to.
Yeah.
I would be almost disappointed if it didn't.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that one. Simmering along nicely.
Throw in here for Lee and the Richmond Kickers. Looking for their 8th win on the year. They've had 15 defeats and 8 draws. And we're going to get a whistle here, and this is going to give a good opportunity for the Kickers. Quick conversation with the official.
Is it a foul? Or does Minatillo make the very most of it and go down because actually Guzman isn't there to hold him up?
Well, they had to bring out the shaving cream for this foul, so this is significant. Gonzalez. Let's see what this set piece looks like. Shot blocked there, and the keeper has all eyes on that.
And not really convinced by that set play from Richmond. Doesn't really work. The defense certainly didn't have enough height on it.
Just 1 week left in the regular season for the United Soccer League, and then the playoffs will begin. A lot of interesting stories throughout the year, both in the Eastern and Western Conference. We'll develop those as the evening goes on. Right now, St. Louis trying to work a build-up here to get in a clean shot at Wara. They've had one very dangerous cross from Valesky that was beautiful but was defended nicely. And that's just too much, but that deflection leaves it wide open in the middle, but very, very quickly, number 22, Wes Charpie, to clear that out.
What you did see there from Richmond, it goes up to Minatillo and immediately comes back to Esque, because Esque is going to play in that playmaker role and rotate around Minatillo and try and pull the strings. And that's when he gets in between the line of defense and midfield, as I highlighted earlier on. And that's something St. Louis players have got to be mindful of. Someone's got to sit on top of him and not allow him to be able to have freedom.
That's a difficult pass by Dalgard that almost worked, but Valesky was bracketed by 2 defenders that time.
Well, Yombi reads it well, but what he does after that is not very good at all in terms of defending technically.
Now Guzman now with a chance to center this into the box. It's blocked. And there will be a throw-in coming up here for St. Louis. And Guzman is the man who will handle that. Now they are really showing they're trying their best not to let Valesky beat them. Drawing a ton of attention here. St. Louis able to keep it in. Rudolph.
Cut back.
Cut back here, and they just slide by Valesky. Just missed. Beautiful center. And St. Louis keeps on the heat. And then well, they saved it. I thought that might have been across the line, but no call from the referee's assistant.
They're starting to get a stranglehold on this game now, St. Louis.
Long drive from way out, and Wara saw it all the way.
And file that under ambitious as well, a bit like the kickoff.
Ali Hadzik was the one who fired that. He's only played 12 games this season, so he probably wants to get into the goal column before the year's over.
I mean, I don't mind a player taking a crack at goal from that sort of distance. You're just thinking, is it really one of your fortes? Because if it is, great. If it isn't, you're not playing to your strengths, are you?
Guzman being hounded here and pushed off by Fernando.
It's good play from Fernando, definitely. That's a foul by Tito.
Well, maybe he played advantage there.
Yeah,
Nothing I can
that's
think
it.
of.
By all means, referee can have that option.
I actually like that a lot when a referee does that. As long as nobody's hurt, let's just play. Going to try another big strike, and that is just over the crossbar, and that's Ali Hadzik again.
Okay, the first one was a sighter. Now he's warmed up. He's getting closer.
All right, so he's gone low. That one too high. The next one could be unbelievable.
Yeah, just looking at Appiah, I mean, yes, if he brings that sort of action for St. Louis, fabulous. But he's not getting outside. He is not bringing the game outside of that defense, getting behind Raul Gonzalez there. He's not being tested. So he's always going to come in because naturally he's right-footed up here. So maybe see that might change as the game goes on.
Menotillo trying to get through a wall of pink shirts. And we have a whistle. A foul going against Richmond. Menotillo having a quick conversation with Eric Tattersall.
I'm sure the referee's buying that argument, is he?
Do they ever?
Now and again, you might get them to think differently.
Down the line, yeah. Maybe you can plant a seed.
Yeah. A bit late in the day for the long picture, though, isn't it?
For these teams, yes, unfortunately. Guzman, at least this season. Now Rudolph, who has been pesky.
What he needs here is support from Guzman, who's nowhere near close enough to offer the option.
So he doesn't. Working the middle. Now Appiah.
See how Appiah's coming back onto the inside again on his right foot when that ball should be pinged out left, and it's overcooked.
And an easy play for the keeper. Well, Ali Hadzik was in his range. He was in about 50 yards. So I thought he was just going to go ahead and blast another one.
No, now and again the thing opens up in front of you and you think, well, I'll do it. Sometimes it's just not there, so you can't, and so you play the safe percentages. You pass, you go, you play, push it onto another teammate, change the point of attack, keep the move going.
We're end to end on that. There's a good look at A.J. Cochran for St. Louis. Again tonight wearing a little bit different uniforms to aid in the fight against breast cancer, this being October. That should be and is a whistle against Richmond.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Paddy McCann's going to get away with the third one. That's the second one now. And Dalgard suffering on that occasion.
Take a look at Lee Cowlishaw. Had a long and very distinguished career with the Kickers franchise. Take a look at his numbers through 17 seasons. And again, until this year, let me rephrase that. They have a run of 13 straight playoff seasons, which is coming to an end this year. A little lazy there. It didn't quite have enough on it, and now an opportunity in the other direction. Minitillo. And they have to wait, and that allows St. Louis to reload a little bit defensively. Back to Lee. All the way back now to Yambi.
Important now, St. Louis keep their shape. Markovic there using all his experience just to read the situation. And now the counter-attack comes. Guzman can just push him down its right-hand side.
He had that thought, just did not execute it enough.
He's got to take that ball further forward. And if he does make that pass, he's got to give Rudolph the option by playing it that much wider. But at the moment, St. Louis are winning possession back quite easily.
Shot here, but not a dangerous shot from Dalgard. And again, Wara, with nobody in front of him, was able to see that very, very easily. And you mentioned possession is still, Gary, hanging around that 65-35 in favor of St. Louis. We want to remind you to make sure you visit one of the 7 local St. Louis area Toyota dealers. And Minitillo, I don't know if that was a bit of a salesman's job that time from Calvacetta, but Minitillo's not buying it.
The referee must know Minitillo's a physical player. And Calvacetta, well, okay. That's what happens. You learn as a defender to deal with that. Just pushes him in the back. And get up and get on with it.
Yeah, they get up and had a couple of words. You mentioned 1 or 2 things might be brewing between some other players.
Yeah,
we'll keep an eye on those
between strikers and central defenders, there generally is something always going on. It's whether or not you see it. But from my experience, there's always something going on. See how deep Markovic is. It's that deep lying playmaker, that orchestrator.
Should be a throw in here for St. Louis. You see Preki there at your screen. Coaching for Richmond, either yelling at an official, perhaps.
No, he's just his usual animated self, which is fine. That's how he does things.
Yep, if that's who you are, why change? Oh my goodness, that is a mental error, and that's going to allow St. Louis to get the corner here.
That is a gift.
Time for the Electro Savings corner kick. This is number 2 for St. Louis from this same position.
Look at that shot there. There's one player, Valesky, in the 6-yard area. Everyone out is drifted off to that far post.
Guzman is headed, and it actually looked like Cochran's header hit his own knee and took every bit of steam off the ball.
It looked as if he was struggling to get power on the header. Heading it down, as you say, it's like an arm.
I thought he headed it off himself, which is a little bit unusual, but he must have just missed it. Oh, no, it actually looked to me like it might have hit a Richmond player, and you see one of the St. Louis players signaling for a corner kick that he is not getting. But once again, seemingly no matter what, St. Louis comes out with possession. They've been a much more threatening side the last 10 minutes of this match. But don't have anything to show for it yet. Oh, Valesky was right on the doorstep.
Oh, that's a golden opportunity, and he knows it. Good delivery in the end that comes through. Watch him as he just tries to steer this back towards that post that it was coming, the direction it's come from, which is perfect striker play. Just couldn't get the power he needed.
Trying to switch, and it does not work. Headed back very smartly by Raul Gonzalez.
So St. Louis have a lot of territorial advantage. They have a lot of possession. But at the moment, and this is possibly why they're finding themselves outside of the playoff picture, is when these things come together, they're not taking the opportunities. They're not making the best of the chances that they create.
They have 6 shots to 3, 2 shots on target. Richmond has blocked 3 so far, and as Gary and I have mentioned a couple of times, possession is very much favoring St. Louis. But the one stat that matters most is even. But here comes St. Louis one more time. Ali Hadzik taken down just outside the box. We play on. Imora to Fernando. Tried to give and go, and that was interrupted, and it's going to be a foul now as Imora a little bit shaken up on the play. Might have been kicked in the shin. Excuse me, that is Fernando.
I don't know how much of Fernando's ankle he gets here, but it went down rather quickly.
No discipline from the referee, and we'll play on. Got him pretty good there.
Yeah. Didn't have a chew on the ankle, didn't he?
But very quickly, Fernando is up with a dangerous ball, and the header is blocked.
Oh, did that hit an arm or not? What a poor clearance from Appiah.
Well, that was an argument Richmond made immediately on that blocked shot on the header, and they're going to discuss that fruitlessly with the referee. And he actually, I think I just saw him say, I didn't see it.
And that's it. If you don't see it, you can't give it.
Let's see if we see it.
Great ball across. It's a handball. Those arms are outside of their natural position. They're in a very wide open stance. So Sharpie there can be thankful the referee didn't see it.
And he admitted it. That doesn't make Richmond feel any better. Taken down in the box. We'll play on again. St. Louis fans not too thrilled that Valesky got dragged down. In their minds anyway. Ali Hadzik, who has shown the ability to fire from distance, now leaves it for Appiah. And he'll have to push back a little bit as he had nowhere to go. Now working wide to Guzman. Valesky's been dangerous in the net there, and that one just went past him. And now a counterattack coming here from the Kickers, if they can sustain it, and they cannot. Dalgard, double teamed, lost it. Yumby. And that's just going to go away. Not a great kick there at all.
Just shows you, they've rode their luck a little bit, St. Louis. But this on the other side, that could be considered a foul because Roberts does not intend to play the ball there. He intends to play Valesky. And it's on or in the box. So I think Valesky has to realize that if he goes pound for pound against Roberts, he's not going to win physically. He's going to have to beat him in a more technical, skillful way rather than through physicality.
Well, good anticipation that time by Guzman. Read that play beautifully, and St. Louis retakes possession. Guzman back in the lineup. He had been listed earlier in the week on the injury report with a knee problem, but he seems perfectly fine tonight.
To be carrying any issue.
I don't even see any of that KT tape or anything
no.
around his knee
so
or his thigh or anything. So good.
Just for me now, St. Louis build-up slow, slower than it needs to be. And it's look, they've gone back to their keeper. They're stretched. They don't look in a good shape. This has got to happen sharper if they're opening up Richmond.
Well, the focus for both sides has been on Christian Valesky. For St. Louis trying to feed him, for Richmond trying to prevent it. Guzman in, and that's going to be cleared away. Well, just a flat miss that time by Bolduc, and that's going to allow Appiah to work it around to his teammates. We'll see if they switch here or they just continue to go with short passes, and that's the movement at the moment. Through here, this could be dangerous. Rudolph, he'll strike, it's blocked.
Did you see what I was saying about S.K. Jackson when he gets in that space between midfield and defence? Ali Hadzik is doing the same. And you can see when he does, he goes forward and his intention is, I'm going to have a shot. And that's the one thing that they've got to keep mindful of, his space, his ability to find space in between the two lines of Richmond's midfield and defence. He's calm at the moment.
We'll get back to that in a couple minutes to see how that goes.
That's what I said for the moment.
Yes, exactly. That may not last. No, not may not, will not.
Remains 0-0 with his team having so much possession and territorial advantage. I defy any coach to be happy.
Well, coaches are generally not always happy. Even when they win, they find things to be unhappy about. It's the nature of the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 36 minutes. Both teams have had some pretty good chances. Lightly called game, not a lot of heavy fouls, no discipline at the moment. And both sides are probably disappointed in non-decisions by the referee. One, what we thought was a handball against St. Louis in the box, would have been a penalty kick on a blocked shot. And then you could argue that we showed earlier on the replay that Valesky was taken down in the box. That could have also been a penalty kick opportunity. So
and you and I are disappointed because it's 0-0.
Well, I was going to say, if you're just joining us, you're now caught up because that's been the center of the action so far. It's been a half of almosts for both sides.
Just think from the St. Louis perspective, I want tempo. I want quicker. That ball's got to move and move sharper. We have to then distort Richmond and their defensive shape when we've got the ball, and we've had it a lot. So therefore, we're not breaking them down enough. And when we do break them down and we do create our chances, stick it in the back of the net, chaps. That's why we're here.
Well, it seems like it has been a while since Richmond has really done anything on the attack against Gorick.
Well, apart from the handball.
Right, and the one shot by Minatello early.
They've been off the radar.
Yeah. Minatillo had a shot early that he missed.
Good play by Dalberg.
And there's another ripper from long distance that's just too high, and a passionate plea from Wara. Now, what would he be upset about here, do you think?
I don't want them to take shots at my goal. I've had this conversation with many goalkeepers. That's too easily done, right?
Yeah.
If he's shooting from there, you lot, and there are other ways of expressing that,
yes,
aren't doing your job. Therefore, do your job, or else I'm coming out here with all 6'3" of me, looking like a giant banana, giving you a hard time. Don't make me do it.
Kind of like a parent talking to his kids. Don't make me go back there.
Exactly. So we've seen Ali Hadzic and Nel Dalberg pop up in that space in front of the Richmond back line and then start drilling shots. What you want is a little bit more control, because they've not really, if you're going to shoot from that distance, it's got to be on target. It cannot be sailing over the bar or wide. Because if it is, don't take the shot if you can't guarantee a shot on target.
Guzman, yeah, able to keep that in play. Running out of real estate, though, and it'll be a goal kick coming up here for Richmond.
The final ball at the moment is just frustrating from St. Louis's point of view. Just not able to just get that real finesse that sees the job sat up for someone like Valesky, someone like Rudolph, who just says, all right, chaps, I'll take it from here.
Well, don't feel bad, because San Antonio and Tampa Bay are in the first half, 0-0 through 33 minutes. So we are not the only ones here missing out on goals at the moment.
The good news is we've got good creativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you feel like something's going to pop.
There you go.
Yeah, you do. For which side? 39th minute. And Guzman has been active.
Yeah, he's kind of won that battle with Luis Fernando, and we've not seen Fernando really get down this left-hand side, which we did in the opening 15 minutes, because he's got good quick feet, Fernando, and he wants to go forward. But if you deny him the service, he's not really going to have the effect on the game as he did in the early parts.
Don't forget, by the way, if you want to go to USLsoccer.com, you can always vote on goals of the week, players of the week, player of the month. All of that is available to you, and you can keep up on the playoff races. And then in a couple of weeks, the playoff schedule. The regular season will end next week. We'll take a good look there at 18. Alex Lee, who has an assist on the year. And it looks like he's going to leave that behind for Imora.
Well, Roberts hasn't gone forward, and he's a big physical presence. So you're wondering, Yombi's probably gone up as well. So a couple of big guys in there. Monetio as well. All right, make this attack quick because one of the central defenders is not on the hurry up to get home.
No, you're right. Not exactly sprinting down the pitch. Now they're going to get it in, and St. Louis just withdraws and starts over.
See what I mean about making the best of opportunities? Sense that this is there and take it.
Rudolph trying to drop it off. Might have missed a little bit of a miscommunication there with Dalgard, who held back and did not chase that pass down. Now Richmond will get going here with Jackson Eske. Ball through here, and the keeper will scramble. They were trying to feed Fernando in the middle, and it was deflected by a St. Louis defender on the tackle, and it was an easy play for Gorick, who was sharp on that one.
Mirkovic has pushed further forward, and I think that's important because if he plays too deep a lying role, his effect on the game attacking wise for St. Louis is diminished, to my mind anyway.
Wearing a captain's armband tonight for St. Louis, and wearing it for Richmond is Yambi. SK trying to leave it off there delicately for Minutio. It was too delicate.
Worried by Caballchetta. Stepped out.
We're in the 42nd minute, and St. Louis is not pressing at the moment. Taking their time. Well, that's a turnover there. Fernando with a chance. Trying to go between, can't do it, and good defense by Mirkovic.
So now the space is there because Fernando's out of position.
Rudolph. Another energetic run for him. He'll go backwards, however. Switched to Apia, but that was well covered by the Richmond defense, and Yambi will try to clear things.
Raul Gonzalez there sees that pass from Mirkovic from a long way away. It travels a long distance, so good defending in the end.
Well, you've got real size on that back line with Yambi and Roberts.
Oh, yeah, there are a couple of units.
Yeah, they're big. Yambi at number 2, Roberts 15 from Cameroon and Sierra Leone, respectively. And a throw-in opportunity here. And they'll drop it off.
Foul throw there. All right, play on.
He meant to do that.
Did he? And that's a foul throw. Naughty boy.
St. Louis, perhaps one more thrust left in this half.
Oh, it's open. Take it.
He does, and it's wide.
Corner.
Yeah, I think so. That looked like it did strike Yambi. He was not happy with himself, and you are absolutely right. This is going to be a corner here for St. Louis, so another threat coming up here. This time we'll see a corner, the Electro Savings corner kick from the top of the screen.
What would concern me a little bit from the St. Louis coaching staff is, yes, we've got shots on goal, but a lot of them are from distance. Need it to be closer in.
Here's your chance right now. Headed, oh, just high. Oh, so close. So close again over the crossbar.
Travels a long way, this corner. Gets the flick on. Caballchetta off his right knee. You're never going to get a great deal of control trying to get it in there with your right knee. Or your left knee, for that matter.
Word is we're not going to have any stoppage time. We've had nobody down except for very brief moments. Certainly have not seen anybody come on the field. We've had no long talks with the referee and no goals.
That's fine by me.
I love no long talks with the referee. That means we're not in a fouling game, and it's pretty clean. Coming up in our halftime, though, we're going to have a year in review for St. Louis. Is everybody all right? Good. There you go.
Oh, good man.
He'll remember that one.
Yeah, because those young children there are quite close to those boards, so Cavalier did a good thing there just to make sure that young person was okay.
We'll get the throw in, but not much more.
There will be no added time to the first half.
Too much space.
Shot blocked and deflected, and there's the whistle. You see Richmond's going, wait a minute, don't we get our chance here again? But no, you don't. Now the referee has decided that there is 0 stoppage time. We ran just a few seconds long, and the complaints will not do them any good. So these teams trudge to the dressing room, not having scored. St. Louis had the better of the play, it appeared, for most of the half, but they cannot penetrate the goal of Travis Wara, and for that matter, Davala Goric has half a clean sheet as well. We'll come back and have a year in review for St. Louis when we return. Nil-nil at the half. We welcome you to the halftime, brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Hollywood Casino is excited to be the newest pub-to-park location for upcoming St. Louis FC home games. And for more information, visit stlouisfc.com. How has this year gone for St. Louis? Let's take a look.
Everybody needs a place to call their home. Everybody needs someone to call their own. Even when you're lonely, no, you're not alone. You're one of us, one of us, one of us, one of us. Oh! Is this your starring role, or just a cameo? Who are you living for, living? Oh! When you can't take no more, 'cause when it rains it pours. What are you living for, living? of us, one of us, one of us.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
We can warn someone when their drink isn't safe.
And disrupt the situation.
We can
get someone the cab.
Or walk them home safely.
We can make campuses safer for our friends.
Our roommates.
Our classmates. Our fellow human beings.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can intervene.
It's on us.
All of us.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
As we enter the final 2 weeks of the 2017 USL regular season, the playoff race is coming down to the wire. In one of the final games of Week 28, the Charleston Battery claimed the point they needed to clinch a spot in the postseason through Evio Cordova's late equalizer, which earned a 1-1 draw at Ottawa Fury FC. Another sellout crowd at Papa Murphy's Park of 11,569 fans saw Sacramento Republic FC close out its home slate on a high note Saturday night with a 2-0 victory that ended Phoenix Rising FC's 11-game undefeated streak. With the win, Republic FC now needs just 1 point to claim a 4th consecutive trip to the USL Cup playoffs. At the top of the Western Conference, Real Monarchs SLC struck early in the second half and twice before the final whistle on the road to down Reno 1868 FC 3-0 to put one hand on the USL regular season championship. 1 more point is all that's needed for the Monarchs to claim the first silverware in their history. One of the scorers for the Monarchs in Reno was Chandler Hoffman, who was again firmly in the middle of the race for the USL Golden Boot with 16 goals this season. Everyone is still chasing Reno 1868 FC's Dane Kelly, though, as the Jamaican continues to lead the way with 18 goals in what looks now like a 3-player race that also features Hoffman and the Charlotte Independence's Enzo Martinez, who also sits on 16 goals. With 2 games remaining for all 3 players, the award remains up for grabs as the regular season nears its conclusion. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color-coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Neither side has seen the back of the net here. St. Louis and Richmond in their penultimate game of the regular season. Halftime brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Hollywood Casino is excited to be the newest pub-to-park location for upcoming St. Louis FC home games.
Good job,
More
guys.
information,
Thanks.
visit stlouisfc.com. The St. Louisans, they're waiting to unleash the smoke. And perhaps they'll also get together and watch this match on Tuesday on ESPN3, the Rochester Rhinos versus Bethlehem Steel FC. That is at 7 Eastern on ESPN3 on your laptop or on the ESPN app. Neither side able to find the back of the net just yet. We'll take you through the first half stats and highlights when we return. Our halftime has been brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Hollywood Casino is excited to be the newest pub-to-park location for upcoming St. Louis FC home games. For more information, just go to the website, stlouisfc.com. With Gary O'Reilly, Dave Lamont. Neither team able to score here, Gary. They've had chances, and St. Louis has been, I would think, more aggressive. They are in the pink tonight.
Yeah, they have been, but they've given away silly little half chances like this that get your fans so nervous. Don't do it, is what I would say. Just don't do it. Get the game done, get your opportunities, get the goals, put this game out of Richmond's sight. We thought it was going to happen. A lot of the shots you're going to see in this halftime package is from shots from distance. Now that's, if you're Coach Preki, concerning, because it means you're not getting close enough to goal to give your strikers a real chance. And someone like Valesky, he's a good goal scorer. He's a good finisher. He's not the sort of guy that's going to start shooting from 30 yards out.
No, he hasn't been, and this is going to be a great opportunity there that just chipped wide. And that was early on, St. Louis's first corner kick, actually. Here's what you've been talking about.
Yeah.
And it's been Amir Alihadzik who's done most of the firing from long range, but he has been dangerously close. You see the shots for St. Louis, more than double.
Yeah,
Possession.
Absolutely. Possession's great. Look at those numbers at the top, 0 and 0. You can have 100% if you want, and if those numbers are the same, you're not making the most of it. That's the problem. Now, shots on target. That means you've put 9 somewhere else, apart from where you should be putting it. And I would just say, if you're going to pull the trigger from a long way out, it's got to be on target. You've got to work the goalkeeper. Minimum, work the goalkeeper. Make him earn his money. At the moment, they haven't really done that. And those fans, and I love the fact they turn up in all these fancy
The Tin Man. What was his deal? I forgot now. Wizard of Oz. The Tin Man needed not a heart. He needed.
You're asking the wrong man.
Yeah, you know what? It's been a while. So.
I just love the fact that they've turned up in a costume. They've engaged in it. I mean, this game isn't a playoff game in sense of what it's got riding on it, but they're still making the most of it, and I'll give them credit absolutely for that.
Yeah, neither side going to be in the postseason this year. Richmond ending a 13-year run of being in the playoffs in the USL. For that man right there, Lee Cowlishaw, whose team has mostly been on the counterattack. They will start things off here. They're in the road whites. The pink tonight, the breast cancer awareness uniforms for St. Louis FC. And we begin half number 2. Have not heard about any changes made at halftime by either coach. We also want to remind everybody that Richmond only has 4 substitutes, one of whom, of course, is the backup goaltender.
They also only have 22 goals this season, which is why they're in the position they are.
And, of course, so when you have a hard time scoring goals, all of your substitutes are listed as defensemen. In the meantime, though, Minitillo dropping it off here for Eske. Eske's got room. He drops off. Here's his shot, and a goal! That's Bolduc off the feed from Eske, set up by Minitillo, and the Kickers take a 1-0 advantage.
Let's go, come on, long way, let's go!
And that is a kick, right where you don't want it. You know, you've just spent 15 minutes with your team telling them what you want them to do. And that happens?
That's the best chance that either team has had, really. I mean, that is a clean strike. Nobody in the way, and the goaltender helpless.
Yeah, it's as if they've come out, St. Louis, and their head isn't back in the game. And that is what happens, even against a side that now has scored 23 goals.
That's right, and Bolduc, that's his second of the season, and there should be an assist for Eske there, who, by the way, has not played that much. This is just his second start of the season, and he comes through with a big assist there.
So I think we can say St. Louis will have to push numbers forward. That leaves them more vulnerable to a counter-attack, and we've already highlighted the fact that Richmond do like to play on the counter-attack, but it depends. Next goal. If it's St. Louis's, the game has a definite chance to go their way. If it goes for the visitors, ouch.
We'll start to see some of those defensemen substituting in as well. We'll start to see if that happens.
Yeah, but no one's coming off. He's just going to bring defenders on.
Just see if the referee doesn't notice.
Don't tell him and he won't notice.
Yeah. So we'll see if the philosophy changes at all for St. Louis, or for Richmond for that matter, now that they have the goal. St. Louis turning, they will, that's just an example of a what St. Louis was trying to do to score from distance. Dalgard that time just fouled that one off.
That's discipline. You're not set. You're not in a position where you can take an accurate strike on goal. So don't take it. You've got a player in Valesky who finishes really well. He's a lot closer to the goal than you, so you've got to find a way to get them the ball. And by shooting like that, that is not the way. I would expect them to be intelligent and not just think, I'll take it on, I'm going to be the hero, I'll score, I'll shoot, I'll do this all on my own. What we were talking about in the first half, play quicker, move the ball quicker. It's a known fact, and I'm not telling people that some logic that they didn't understand. The ball will always move faster than the man.
Right.
So keep moving the ball, keep moving the ball, keep moving the ball. And that will break a team down. It'll break their morale, it'll break their shape, and they'll be there for you to do what you want to.
And Richmond coming down again and threatening. Bolduc has got to be at an all-time high with confidence, and his run sets up a corner kick, and the first one for the Kickers tonight. Calvacetta had a slide tackle to get that out of play.
That looked like almost an action replay of the goal. You know, coming down this right-hand channel in and around the edge of the 18-yard area.
Yeah,
they've got to be alive. See, look, you've got St. Louis in here. They're markings only. They're not marking man for man. There doesn't seem to be any Richmond players in and around the 6-yard area. So this is most likely going to go towards the far post area.
Bolduc waiting to make sure everybody's where he wants him to be. Headed and headed off the line. Roberts came in with a strong header. It was headed off the line.
And Merkovich there doing the captain's role on the line. See, where you see Merkovich, he's on the post, at corners. Some managers and some coaches like it, others don't. That's why you put players on the post, inside the post from corners, because when a player like Roberts gets a clean header, that gets headed away. You're still in the game. That goes in, good night, nurse.
Yeah, you're in a very awkward position. Now another corner kick coming up. It'll be Bolduc again. This time the in-swinger. And the header chipped it away. But not all the way out. Richmond keeping on the heat. Trying to open up that 2-0 advantage that might be doomsday. Into traffic. Omura, oh, that was an opportunity here. For Roberts, he took too long.
I think what you realize there is Roberts is not a central striker.
He was winding up like he was a 1940s baseball pitcher, and instead of a guy who had a chance right at his feet.
He was turning like an 18-wheeler there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he took his time, and when you didn't have the time to take. Guzman dropping it off here to Ali Hadzik, whose range tonight appears to be from the locker room on in.
Anything in their half.
Too far. Trying to get to Valesky. So St. Louis resets. And Apia being 1v1 here. Trying to create. That was knocked down by the Richmond defense.
But there he took it on his left foot and got in behind the defense, something we touched on that he wasn't doing a great deal of in the first half.
That should belong to the Kickers. One of our camera staff right there, just in case anybody wondered. There's the shot.
There he is, he's in the game.
Yeah, he might need shin guards. Referee again tonight is Eric Tattersall, assisted by Kyle Armstrong and Tom Kuzwara, with Jervis Atagana, the fourth official. Been a cleanly played game for the most part. We had 0 stoppage time in the first half. And we're going to get a call here, however, going against Richmond.
Minutio offside, so he comes back into action as soon as he touches the ball. He's active. Flag's got to go up, and does.
So Apia, a lot of the attack going through him here.
Tell him, no one told him Imura was right on his case.
And not a lot of pink in the attack at the moment. And Yumby will get rid of it. Aggressive play there by the captain, Mirkovic, but Richmond able to go forward. Now they'll switch. Coming in from the left side. Imora. Thought about a strike from the left foot. Now passes in. Looked like he was trying to feed number 24, Eske. And it's headed away.
I thought Luis Fernando there, when he cuts in on his right foot, is going to think, I want the far post. I want this to curl in at the far post, but he doesn't take it.
Well, he's going to have a chance here. Right-footed, deflected. And the keeper's going to have to grab that.
See, that's not as good a chance as the one he didn't take.
Turned down.
But what happens is, in his head, I should have taken it. So the next one, he takes it. Whether it's a good opportunity or not, he forces that issue.
'54th minute. Second to last match of the regular season for these sides. Richmond, they finished their home schedule last week with a loss to Orlando City B. Their final game will be in the ballpark, Louisville Slugger Field, in a week against Louisville City FC. And St. Louis, this is it. Richmond Kickers will conclude their season, according to their notes. Throw-in coming up here for St. Louis.
He's not had the influence the last, what, 20-odd minutes of the game, Seth Rudolph, that you saw him have in the opening 20 or so.
He was a real force for St. Louis, no doubt, early on, but you're right, things have changed, and they've been so Valesky-centric right now, and understandably, that Rudolph has been kind of quiet.
But they've not really done a lot to service Valesky.
Right.
And I'm thinking, you know, Valesky's looking at shots go over his head and over the bar, and he's thinking, well, that could have been a pass that sets me up, or it could have been a pass to someone who does set me up. Now, I think we've seen what the coach has decided.
And one correction while these substitutions come in. There is one more game that will be on the road. That's against Bethlehem Steel. That's on Sunday the 15th for St. Louis. This is their final home game. So the captain comes out, Mirkovic. This substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. Tyler David will come in.
Also leading the game, number 45, Emmanuel Apia. And entering the game, number 44, Tyler Feely.
And Tyler Feely will come in for Apia.
So if you're called Tyler, you're in the subs bench.
You're in, yes.
Yeah.
You, Tyler. Which one, Coach? Both of you.
You're in.
Now.
Oh, this is it.
And you know what? That's the sub, Feely, who just came in. May not have had his bearings yet. And he just wasn't ready. He had a little bit of a spinner at his feet and couldn't handle it.
Possibly the last person you want, the substitute, just to come on to have his first touch in that position. Sometimes it works. On that occasion, it certainly didn't.
Dangerous ball here. Just going to go just wide.
Sorry, Dave, but as a defender, you're too deep when you're that close to your goalkeeper. Get out of his way, get off his toes, allow him to come, and if there's a striker that wants to come in there, you can smash him out the way, right? Simple as that. You're on top of him. Doesn't want that, doesn't need that.
SK with the flick there that nearly went on goal. Richmond getting the goal in the 46th minute from Matt Boldick, his second of the season. Amazed that pass made it all the way through unmolested, but it did. That's just too far. Good idea.
Yeah, okay.
Randolph crashing in there.
You need something. So build and build and build. Don't get disheartened, don't get your head down, drop and start looking for things in the grass. You're looking at it and saying, right, okay, that didn't happen, but we can do it again. Get confidence, and that has got to spread virally through your team. You lift yourself. You've got a goal down. Okay, no big deal. Let's do something about it as a unit, as a group.
Travis Wara, 3 clean sheets on the season for the Kickers. St. Louis won the opening take between these two sides, and this is their second and final match of the season between each other in the Eastern Conference.
I thought that came off of Esque, but I'm not the referee, am I?
No.
Thank you for confirming that.
I'm happy to help. Plus, I see no shaving cream with you, so if you didn't bring shaving cream, you cannot be the referee.
Well spotted.
So St. Louis trying to counter. This is kind of what we saw a lot in the first half. A lot of pressure, not many great chances. So they will try once again, perhaps to set up Valesky or maybe Rudolph. And again, it's just too far, just a little bit off all night for St. Louis.
So he's only got one target in the 6-yard box, and that's Valesky. Valesky goes near post. Invariably, he's going to draw heat from the defenders. But there's no one coming in on the second wave. There's no one comes in at the far post. There's no one coming. And therefore, that ball will drift out across the face of the 6-yard box, and there'll be no one on it.
Benatillo on the run, drawing a defender. He's got a teammate open, but can't see him as nearly as clearly as we could see him. As back to him a little bit. He did have Bolduc in position in front of the goal, and now it will be Guzman with a throw in here for St. Louis. So you see Tyler David, who was in your picture there, number 12. He came on for Mirkovic. Switch here. And a pretty good one for Chappie, or Sharpie, pardon me.
Sharpie there, because he's naturally right-footed, he's not inclined to go on the outside and use his left foot.
Oh, that's a jersey pull that time by Sharpie as he took down Jackson Esque. Jersey pulls off and gets your card.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, referee's gone in his pocket. Here's one for you.
Not anymore. It's come out, and I think that is the correct call. That's usually never tolerated, and that'll be a yellow card. First of the match, and I'll go against Wes Sharpie.
Yellow card caution has been issued by the referee for St. Louis FC number 22, Wes Sharpie, in the 60th minute.
Yeah, he normally swaps shirts after the game. Getting his in early.
He's just letting him know, hey, I'd like that jersey when we're done. All the handwriting is over with, and now Richmond will strike. McCann will get set up for him. He'll fire from distance, and it's blocked. So Roberts will press forward here. That ball has some pace on it. Gonzalez with a run. He's taken down hard. 3 players to the turf, and it's a goal kick. I'm not sure what is taking so long here. Everybody got up. There's no injury situation here, so Gorick realizes there's still plenty of time.
I think Dalgard there just feeling a little bit after that challenge.
Well, that was a hard challenge. I mean, 3 players hit hard, but nobody lingered on the turf. We haven't had, fortunately, any of that happen in this match so far, and that kick is hooked out of bounds. And again, we'll throw this right into your device, your living room, your phone, whatever you're watching with us today. Well, nicely done by Sharpie that time to steal. And ahead now to Tyler David. Rudolph dropping it off, goes through Guzman, back to David. Now Valesky.
See, but Valesky's had to come deep, come out of that central position.
Now he sets up. We got the flag up.
No, referee's overruled him, said play on.
Well, right about the time the flag came up, the possession changed over to Richmond, so there was no real need to make a call there. Again, I love that. Play the advantage. Let's keep going and not slow the game down. Where are these guys when I'm watching college basketball games? That's what I want to know. Don't blow a whistle unless there's an advantage game. Metro PCS is the exclusive mobile network provider of St. Louis FC. With over 75 St. Louis metro area locations, you can join the network that covers 99% of the people in the United States. Visit metropcs.com for additional information and latest offers. Gary O'Reilly, Dave Lamont, 63rd minute. Richmond 1-0 over St. Louis in the pink tonight. Doesn't seem as if St. Louis has had, and I don't have statistics to back it up, this is just observation, the possession advantage in this half they did in the first.
No, they didn't. I would say no, they didn't. No, they haven't. For me, there's a lot of dribbling with the ball. When I would think with a team low on confidence like Richmond, because let's be fair, they've not been used to winning lots of games, just keep moving the ball, moving the ball. They're technically good enough to do that.
Richmond coming in a non-playoff year with 7 wins and 15 defeats along with 8 draws.
Going down there stretching with cramp by the looks of it.
Yeah, it never feels good. Alex Lee. And he just got to that one before it went over the line. Sometimes it's those little mistakes that can kill you in the end. Now David trying to turn and get it to a teammate, and finally does. Sharpie back to David, and it is intercepted and beautifully played there by Imora. And that's just one to get rid of it.
He's trying to curl it around for Baldock, but just unable to do so.
And he tried to release the pressure valve a little bit. Physical play defensively. Rudolph trying to make a go of it, or rather that's Dalgard trying to make a go of it. Heel pass. And Richmond can't quite get out of it yet.
Giving that away, Richmond. I just don't understand that at all.
Calvacetta dropping it off now for Guzman. Targeting toward the goal, just too high.
All right, get it back in there.
Dalgard, he'll try. Headed away by the back line. I believe that was Roberts on that one. I'm sure Ali Hadzik for a moment was thinking, am I going to get a space here to shoot?
There he's got to think about a forward pass. He's gone back 20, 30 yards.
Yeah,
you've got to contain the pressure on this Richmond defense. Stress them as much as possible.
Dalgard now Charpie. Trying to work it in. All roads trying to get to Volesky, and he did not get a touch.
Roberts there is going to eat those all day long. He's strong, he's physical. You put a nice little easy pass into Volesky, he's going to brush him aside, put his boot through it, just like he did.
Yeah, we've hardly mentioned Volesky's name as far as having any touches in this half.
That's a foul?
Yeah, that is clearly a foul. I don't know why you would dispute that if you're Lee. Just because you can, I guess, up to a point. But it's pretty obvious.
Yep.
A little attaboy in the direction there of Seth Rudolph.
And your favorite, the sprays come out. Right?
Oh, yeah. I just wonder if the referee ever forgets and has to run to a convenience store or the local market in order to buy more shaving cream, or maybe he gets one from somebody's locker.
We'll never know.
No, these are the things I need to know. Guzman, that's a peppered shot and it went all the way through. That had a lot of heat on that.
What it didn't have was a teammate on the end of it. And it's those situations where you can look at it, or you can just say, I'm going to give everything I've got to get on the end of it, get contact as that goes across the face of the goal.
It looked like it must have been touched here by Wara, because we stay in here for the Electro Savings corner kick. One more time into the box, and the keeper. That's well done by Wara. He saw that all the way. And looked like a javelin thrower there with that throw, and it's going to go
world
away.
record throw there,
yes. The only thing missing was him spinning around in circles like a discus thrower and just grunting.
Thing is, when you hang it up like that for someone like Warra, who's very positive in and around in his 18-yard area. You're just going to give him catching practice. I say it quite often, but that's because it happens quite often.
Richmond has yet to substitute, while the St. Louis has substituted twice. A foul going against the Kickers, and a little stir-up trouble there.
These two are still at it, aren't they?
Yes, we have seen these guys go at it again. And this time, Minotillo avoids the lecture, and it's going to be directed toward Calvacetta instead.
All right, does Warra get a piece of this? Fingertips, but that's it.
These guys are still talking.
The referee's telling them, it's me. I'm the one with the whistle. I'm in charge.
See these things in my pocket? I've got 2 cards. One of them could be for you. Guzman launching it into traffic, headed.
Attack it.
Cochran had a piece of it. They do attack, and it's shot wide.
Everyone's looking at each other saying, well, are you going to go? I thought you were going to go. No, I thought you were going to go. In the end, attack it.
They're being a little too polite.
Yeah. Natural, hungry goal scorers. You are 1-0 down. Get yourself back into this game. It doesn't matter who scores as long as you do the deal.
Do you think sometimes players are afraid to be selfish?
Yes and no. It just depends on players. I know if I've got a player like Valesky in my team, I'm going to be constructing things to put him in a position where he can do his thing. That hasn't happened a great deal for me tonight. Nowhere near as much as it should do.
So Calvacetta will try again here for St. Louis to get things started with Guzman along the far side. Looks like St. Louis is going to use their 3rd and final substitute in around the 70th minute, or as soon as they can. But first, they've got to deal with Fernando. Wide to Imora. Centers it. And trying to get it into SK, he did not get a piece of it, so this should be a goal kick, and is.
You should see the substitution.
So Alvarez will come on. The substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. So Alahadzic will come out, Max Alvarez will come in. And that is it for substitutions for Preki. And we still have yet to see Richmond's substitution pattern. Alvarez on the season, looking for his first goal or assist.
Good time to get it.
Then again, we should remind everybody that Richmond only has 3 substitutes plus their backup goaltender.
Which is maybe why we're not seeing any changes.
And plus, things are going largely well for the Kickers, and most importantly, they're up 1-0. Dalgard. Over to Guzman. That could be dangerous. Charpy flicks the header. Probably a good idea not to shoot. It would have been a low percentage opportunity. Charpy here. Can he get there in time? No, across the line. It'll be a goal kick.
Great little pass in there from Alvarez. Just slices that Richmond defense apart.
Charpy gave the maximum effort there. He just could not catch up.
That's good from Tyler David. Sharpie's out of position, trying to get back, so he sits in and fills in at left back. That's intelligent play.
Just too big a body that time with Roberts to get around. And Richmond will perhaps counterattack. Not perhaps, they are counterattacking now. But with some patience, with that advantage, Bolduc, who has the goal, 32, off here to Minotillo, who scored in the last 2 games for Richmond. And all the way back to Warra.
They look at ease, Richmond. You know, as if, being 1-0 up, something usual for them.
They just appear to be playing with the ball in a string right now.
See, it's hard work chasing the ball when someone just keeps passing it and passing it and passing it and passing it.
You get it through to Fernando. Fernando's got a little room to work with here. Switch to Boldick. He could leave it off here for Gonzalez. He could chip. The defense read that perfectly. And here's David, and
player down in the box.
Yeah, and that's the issue. We have a whistle, and we have a player for Richmond.
I think it's Fernando. It didn't seem to be any contact, and I think he's just tapping his hamstring there, and that would indicate probably a muscle injury he's not particularly happy with.
Yeah, and it is Fernando. You can tell by the very bright yellow and green cleats from the Brazilian. So for the first time, we're going to have a little bit of a significant stoppage in this match as the trainer makes her way out.
See, if he has injured his hamstring, this doesn't seem likely that he'll carry on.
Well, he popped up there, so if, you know, we've seen cramps a lot of times. You know the signs, you know how a player reacts to that.
It's difference between a cramp and a hamstring tear or a pull.
Right.
And let's see if he's forced into action.
Well, you've got Alex Lee right there, number 8. Evan Lee, pardon me. Evan Lee standing by. The moment, though, I don't know, is Fernando going to attempt to continue, wait for the referee to wave him back in? That looks to be the case. Yep, that's the case. He's going to be okay.
Magic sponge.
And in the meantime, you saw some of the Richmond players just relaxing, going over notes and having a tasty beverage. And you heard somebody say, ball's in, guys, ball's in. Charpy for St. Louis. And he just ran out of room with too many Richmond players in the way. Cochran. St. Louis pressing now in the 75th minute. They've used their subs. Richmond has not. Guzman. Did he save the corner kick or no? Yes, he did save the corner kick. Instead, it'll be a throw-in, and the referee wants a substitution. We're going to get one right now, so this will be for Richmond. And this will be Evan Lee, number 8. And it looks like he's coming in for Jackson Eske. Yep. This substitution, of course, brought to you by G&W Meats. Evan Lee, Toledo, Ohio, went to Ohio Wesleyan, has played for FC Cincinnati. He'll be tasked. This is a defensive substitution. Roberts. It's the Great Wall of Richmond, that guy back there. He just doesn't give you many chances.
And he keeps setting it up and putting it on his head, making him look good.
Dalgard drops off for David. And we're going to get a call here that is not settling well with Patrick McCann.
They're going to argue about every decision.
This to
like
me,
this because they're nervous, they're edgy.
They're winning, though. Is that why they're nervous and edgy?
Yeah, because this is a free kick that close to goal.
Come on! Hey, Yellow! Be careful! He's gonna score!
Well, we'll find out if he's right.
Man who sees the future, apparently.
He's one of those magic 8 balls.
If he's right.
Hey, if he scores, he gets at least a T-shirt.
Oh, for sure.
Guzman, will he strike it? No, they'll go left-footed instead. Deflected and wide. Apparently, we have a third commentator today.
He's better than us. Well, at least me.
Yes, but he's not going to get paid.
We get paid?
I'll tell you about that later. This is an Electro Savings corner kick. Guzman will take. This is dangerous. Flick back. And should belong. And yeah, that should be a goal kick and is,
That's
but the
booking.
late contact.
That's a booking.
Yeah.
You've bought that. Absolutely bought that. You've clattered the player who's off the field. You've thrown the ball at the corner flag. You can't complain.
Yeah, Bolduc is the player shaken up. And the anger is directed toward number 30, Calvacetta. The referee's got to get a little control here. I agree with you. I'm waiting for the card to come out. And there it is. Calvacetta gets the yellow.
Yeah.
Second of the match against St. Louis.
Why do you make this challenge? What benefit to your team is this? None. Anyway.
I can live with the ball. That's just a product of a little bit of frustration, and he got lucky when he hit the flag. But the tackle, yeah, that's a dangerous play. That has to be recognized.
That can't go without punishment. Any player, no matter which team.
Happy to see that Bolduc was able to get up and recover from that. In the meantime now, Fernando, who also spent some time on the pitch just with a leg problem, it looks okay here. Number 71, he has it now. 79th minute still, 1-0 Richmond Kickers over St. Louis FC at Toyota Stadium. Well, that was almost too sloppy. And we'll go all the way back to the man in yellow, Travis Wara. Dalgard. And you can see Guzman so unhappy with himself after a bad strike that went all the way across the pitch and out of play. For 50 years, Jed Transportation has delivered a perfect ride every time. Jed Transportation is the official transportation partner of St. Louis FC. Receive special fan offers when you mention the promo code STLFC. Richmond just send it back, start over again. Minotillo with that decision there. I don't hear any whistles, I don't see any flags, and that's going to force Gorick to come well off the line to get that ball to prevent a disaster, because the second goal for Richmond here would likely be the end for St. Louis in this one.
You'd have to think so. And they're leaving it late to get an equalizer, that's for sure.
Here's Lee as we have a St. Louis player who was knocked down.
That's Rudolph who got clattered. I think he ran into Roberts.
And you can see Preki. How is that not a foul as he talks to the fourth official? That's a brutal role for me, the fourth official, because you don't have any authority. You can't make those calls yourself. So you have to stand there and let, in this case, Preki, give you a hard time for something you didn't do.
I know, but they can't give you too much of a hard time.
That's true. Occasionally, somebody gets carded. And there's a courtesy kick back to the keeper. Look out there. Well, it is Toyota Stadium after all. If you're going to crash into one of the signs, that's the one to do. Gonzalez.
Oh, foul.
There's the whistle. Charpy discussing it with the referee's assistant. And Preki having a word with the referee, but the referee is explaining why he called this a foul, and it seems pretty clear why.
Yep. The ball isn't in the frame.
No, that's you know what, you can't say anything else.
I don't have to say anything else.
This is Lee, who entered the game a few minutes ago.
And you can hear someone shouting, up, up. Generally, that's the goalkeeper just driving you from behind there, making sure you condense the space.
Dalgard for St. Louis. Can they come up with an equalizer here in their final home match of the season?
Well, they've got to. You know, they have got to come up with an equalizer. The fans deserve it because they've been brilliant, the St. Louis fans.
Trying to get through for Charpie, and yet again, a good idea, just slightly mis-executed that time.
And we're saying this again, deep into the second half. We said it in the first half. They make some good effort, they make some good approach play, but the execution of the final pass has let them down on a number of occasions.
Well, that time it was Alvarez who was trying to feed it to Charpie. Just a little too strong. We will get a little stoppage time in this half since we've had a trainer come on. We've also had some bookings and a goal.
Has that displeased you?
No, I think I actually have to say this match to me, and you're welcome to disagree, has been very well officiated, although there was the one call of a non-handball that we spotted that would have gone in Richmond's favor. But otherwise, I can't think of anything that would be, pardon the expression, foul by this group. The handball, yes. I think the referee's even admitted he missed that. And he might have missed that too.
Not sure if that's a foul.
Now Rudolph down. And just towering over him is Roberts. Let's see if this should have been called. Right after we compliment the officials, of course, we get a moment that's controversial. Look like he just fell down.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
The player is in front of Rudolph and he goes down, so difficult to see how. I'm not saying he's not suffering, but it's difficult to see how that would have been a foul. Precky's obviously frustrated. He wants a positive outcome for the final home game of the season. I can understand that.
He doesn't have anybody to replace him. So while it perhaps is just a cramp, and I say that easily because I'm not the one who's cramping, but hopefully he'll be okay once he gets a little bit of liquids in him. After the final whistle, we want you to head over to Twitter at St. Louis FC to vote for your Pleats Man of the Match. For a little while in the first half, Rudolph would have certainly been a candidate as he was very pesky, putting a lot of pressure on Richmond, but as you can see by the score, it has not been that kind of night. While Lee Cowlishaw is hoping to get out of town with a win.
That would definitely be on his wish list pre-kickoff.
Well, just to have an 8th win of the season, it's been a tough year for them. They're perpetually a playoff team, 13 consecutive years, not happening this year. So you take what you can get.
He'll be looking at players, it's a rebuild year, looking at things that he wants to use, guys he might decide to lose. So, yeah. It'll be interesting for him as a coach because he's used to having an active post-season. Not going to be the case this time round.
And Valesky charging after the keeper. And
that's Valesky's game now.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to have to, he's got to chase the goalkeeper out to the edge of the box to hope maybe he gets something. You want him in front of the sticks, where he does his thing, not chasing out there and doing stuff, but he's seen so little of the ball.
That's what I was going to say. He's had so few chances.
Yeah. I mean, less chances in the second half.
Oh, yeah. Not considerably fewer chances in the second half. He had the ball there for the moment.
He's nervous there, doesn't he?
Agitated, too. I think he has to be.
He's nervous. Can we hold on? The last few minutes, can we hold out? I don't care, I just want the win.
Clock always seems to be going slower when you're ahead.
Especially this time of the game.
Still has 2 substitutions in his pocket if he wants them. And you've got to be happy where the ball is right now, though. Gonzalez out of room. Looked like he just jumped. I have to be honest. At first blush, looked like he just decided I'm going to go ahead and take a jump and see if I can get a call. That's going to get you a call. With the referee staring right at you, that will go against Fernando, and he's got a couple words for Sebastian Dalgard. And you know, when you're ahead 1-0, you might want to keep your mouth shut. Now Tyler David. That's good positioning there. And all the way through.
Final ball again.
Well, Rudolph was the target there, and he tried to get around Roberts. That's not easy.
But then again, you see the speed at which the ball comes in at. He's never going to get anywhere close to that. You know, when you pass a ball like that, you put some intelligence on it. You want to play to his outside. You want to play to so you can invite him to take a shot early, or you want it back. That just gave him no chance.
You have a guess on stoppage time?
2.5. Going on 3.
All right. See how close that is. I think that's a very accurate assessment. St. Louis looking for an equalizer. That's a good pass there. Lee defending, and defending very well. Evan Lee, the substitute, coming on and stripping the ball away from Feely. Feely now giving chase. He has the fresher legs, having come on in this half. Cleared, not out. Chance here now. Dalgard strikes, but nothing on it, and the keeper didn't even have to move.
You're going to be looking at that as a goalkeeper and saying, I'll take that all day long. Thank you very much.
+1 minute left in this one. Final home game for St. Louis FC. They'll finish at Bethlehem. Richmond will finish at Louisville. Sharpie. Yep. And you could see Christian Valesky trying to draw a whistle. Unsuccessful.
Seemed to be a little bit more of an intentional dissent.
I agree. I think that was the right non-call. I did see a Richmond player down on the pitch. It looked like, and it is Alex Lee, and that is a sign of a cramp.
Well, that was the same player suffering.
Yep,
earlier
that's right.
We saw him stretching.
Now you could substitute for him. So we're going to have a stoppage time decision right now, and Lee says, no, I got this. Please let me handle it. 6 minutes of stoppage time, which is brought to you by Hot Shots. Make sure you visit one of the 12 local Hot Shots locations post-match.
Well, I think the official terminology we're looking for here is you were nowhere near Gary with 3 minutes.
No, but you were halfway there.
Oh, isn't that a relief?
So Lee being sent off for the moment. And he's asking to come out, and I don't blame him. At this point, you don't want a half a guy out there if you have somebody who's healthy and fresh.
The trouble is, the time it takes now for them to get, we've got a player who's come immediately on, so that's different. Because if you're going to waste a couple of minutes, that's when you're one player short, and therefore you're vulnerable.
Connor Shinosky will come on, number 5. One substitution left for Richmond. St. Louis used theirs very early on in this half. Can they create, St. Louis, something better than what we've seen so far from them in this last 45 minutes plus? Good ball there to Guzman. Now Rudolph couldn't get anything on it, but he will get a corner kick out of this.
You know what? Considering the position he was in, take a corner.
It's the Electro Savings corner kick. Turn this over to Alvarez. Left foot in swinger. See Cochran there. He's tall, could be dangerous. Comes out low, flick toward the goal, but out.
Ooh, he's broke
That's a
their
goal
hearts.
kick. Yeah,
goal kick.
Both sides put their arms up in the air to try to influence the referee. This is a good idea here for Richmond. They send Raul Gonzalez down the right side. Ball saved by St. Louis. And they'll reload in the 93rd minute. Well, that's a needless foul. I don't understand the point of that. It's going to be a yellow card.
Okay, it's going to chew the clock up.
Well, that's true.
That's the whole idea about this. It stops momentum. It stops an attack. The foul's in the center field, so you shouldn't really feel too.
So there's a point to that.
Yeah, it's a cynical way of looking at it.
Okay. I see your point, though.
Yeah,
that's valid.
Yeah.
I question it because it may add a couple seconds while he does, he writes names down or something. But you're right. Long in toward the box, but right at the keeper again.
You've given him catching practice. He doesn't need it.
He does a lot of that during the week. Now he just gets to flush it down the other end.
Yeah.
A double takedown. So the referee decides I'm not going to call anything there because they're both guilty.
There you go.
One more time. Dalgard.
You're going to do it now, chaps.
Dalgard has a little bit of space. Top of the box. A lot of white shirts around there. David. And Big Roberts just comes in and sweeps it down the pitch.
That's what he does.
And he's done it very well tonight. Both he and Yambi, the central defenders for Richmond, have been top-notch.
I haven't given Valesky a sniff.
Again will come St. Louis FC in the now 95th minute. And Roberts cuts it down, but this time draws a whistle, and Rudolph may actually be hurt this time.
He thought about it, didn't he, the referee? He thought about whether or not he was going to blow.
Well, Lee Cowlishaw's not very happy with that, and he's not happy with the amount of time left. Let's see if this is indeed a foul. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, catches him straight across the instep.
Yeah, I don't see.
Funny, something my father said many, many years ago. It's a game of opinions. And we just saw them exchanged in the technical area. Yeah, he wasn't wrong.
All right. Travis Wara sitting on a clean sheet, trying to set up his wall the way he wants it. Let's see who's going to strike this for St. Louis. You see Guzman there with the ponytail. You get a look from the goalie's perspective.
So you got a righty and a lefty.
It's the righty, too high. Not even close.
That sums up their evening.
And Wara comes way off the line toward the referee, and the referee wants nothing to do with this conversation. I'm not sure what Wara was hot about, but he went a long way out.
Maybe to waste time?
Could have been. Now the 96th minute. And now we're down to seconds remaining.
Mikey, as far as you can. Mikey, as far as you can.
Let's see how strict he is with this 6 minutes. Might blow the whistle right here.
Well, it's always a minimum of.
Right, it is his discretion. And don't forget, we had a booking right after the 6 minutes was announced. Yeah. And we also had Lee stagger off the field with a cramp. So you might get one more thrust, one last chance here for St. Louis. Everybody down.
Oh, corner.
Yes, sir, it is.
Bring the keeper up. Everybody in.
Yeah, you might as well. What's the difference?
Absolutely.
At this point, one more Electro Savings corner kick.
Devil Ogoric, get up here. Come on, son.
Alvarez into traffic, headed away by Roberts. One last big defensive play. Goric. It's loose. Roberts defending again. That's out of bounds. Should be and is a goal kick for Richmond, and that should probably do it for Lee Cowlishaw. I think he knows it's over because he's starting to put things away.
No, I think he's trying to send a message to the fourth
Yes.
official.
So we've gone 90 seconds past the 6 minutes of suggested stoppage time, and there it is, a road win for Richmond. A very gratifying result for them, a disappointing one, of course, for St. Louis. Just unable to generate very many clean chances, particularly, Gary, in the second half.
Yep, didn't work their way. They got caught with a sucker punch right on the start of the second half, and Richmond get that road win.
Matt Boldick's goal, the only goal of this match for these two teams whose seasons for 2017 will end next week. Both of them will be on the road. Hard fought for sure, but for Lee Cowlishaw, it's got to be a little bit of satisfaction in what has been a down year for a Richmond team that is used to success in the USL. We'll come back. I'll get Gary's final thoughts on this match. Richmond winning 1-0 over St. Louis. Uh-huh. Matt Boldick gets the only goal of this match tonight in St. Louis. His second goal of the season in the 46th minute, held up as the Kickers defeated St. Louis. What had to be, Gary, a very frustrating night. Well, I'm sure it is a frustrating night for St. Louis because in the first half they generated a lot of chances. You really couldn't say the same in the second.
No, first half they created a lot more pressure. They looked a little bit shaky on occasions, offered up a couple of chances for Richmond that they didn't take. But most of the drama was at the Richmond end. And you're thinking, second half, the home side are going to take the advantage, take the game forward, get the goals they need. They couldn't do it. A lot of shots from outside, a lot of shots from distance, and they're not getting close to Warner's goal to really, really hurt them.
This was in the first half, and this is as good a look as they had. You see Warner got a little touch on that, and the chip is just wide and harmless. But here comes one of those blasts from distance that this was nearly successful.
Yeah, I mean, that was possibly the closest they came to realistically getting an opportunity. But yeah, it's a gift. Given away in centre of midfield. Now you can see Jackson there waiting for the overlap. Boldick duly obliged. It's good movement. Keeper will be disappointed. Gorek that it's gone underneath his body and then centre of goals. But when you get your pocket picked in there like that, it's good pressure from Richmond. They've set themselves up. They've got numbers. You've got Fernando wide left. You've got Jackson here. Then this run outside creates all the problems for St. Louis, and Lowe that really does take all 3 points home with them.
And that's so early at halftime. Barely people are just settling into their seats after grabbing whatever they want to do at halftime. And that was the only goal of the match. Roberts there with a header. Excuse me, that was Wambi. Yambi with a header off the line by the captain.
Yeah, Milkovic, the captain, doing a good job. Detailed to sit on those posts. And this, you're thinking, is that going to be the one? No. They just weren't really getting anything on target that was going to give them the problem.
Caught a piece of the wall, set up one of many corner kicks tonight for St. Louis, but Not happening tonight for St. Louis. A disappointing finish to their season at home, both sides with one match left. And for the Kickers, they'll be at Louisville City FC at Slugger Stadium Saturday the 14th at 7:30 Eastern. And for St. Louis, you'll find them at Bethlehem Sunday, October the 15th, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. I feel like suddenly I need to put on a Pink Floyd record when I get back into my car.
It's a beautiful thing.
So tonight for Richmond, one strike is all they needed. Beautifully done by Boldig. And they send themselves back to Virginia as victors tonight. A clean sheet for Travis Wara. And Davala Gorick, this is the only one that beat him. For Gary O'Reilly, I'm Dave Lamont. For our crew, we thank you for watching. United Soccer League, Richmond, a winner, 1-0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.